If you go to Miami, like all of southern Florida is sitting on top of fossil coral reefs.
Oh,
the whole state of Florida has got coral reef fossils underneath it. Anywhere you go, you dig a hole.
Except the sinkholes.
Well, the sinkholes are holes in the coral reefs.
Why would that exist?
Look, I was just in Florida 3 months ago, and I had the best sinkhole experience.
That may be the first time that sentence has ever been uttered on planet Earth, because sinkhole experiences are typically tragic.
Yeah, well, I'm going to, now we're going to talk about sinkholes in Florida. All right.
Oh, man.
So the bedrock of most of Florida is limestone that's about 35 million years old.
Wow.
So it was deposited at the bottom of the sea, and there's a thick layer of limestone. And
what forms limestone?
Limestone are fossil reefs.
Oh, okay.
It can be lots of different things, but in Florida, they're fossil reefs. They're coral heads and just what you're talking about.
Right. So why is the word lime in there?
Because it's calcium carbonate, and when you bake calcium carbonate, you get lime, which is used to make concrete, right? And so it's a lime instead of an old English word for this
calcium carbonate,
right? And we use, and so limestone
Yeah.
is calcium carbonate.
Yeah.
And so it forms in ocean situations. Can also form in freshwater, it turns out. But in ocean situations, organisms build these reefs, or just layers of microorganisms that make limestone, like the cliffs of Dover, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
Are a sort of non-reef version of the reefs. But Florida has these reef ones, and you can go to outcrops anywhere in Florida, and you'll see the coral sticking right out of the rock. I mean, it's like, there it is. It does take
this 35 million year old.
Yeah, takes zero imagination to see it. You're looking at the reef. And
man, I used to live in Florida. I don't ever remember seeing that. So
you don't look at the ground enough, man. You're looking at the stars too much.
Yeah, I'm looking up.
So I went to Florida because I'm working on this fossil atlas of the United States, and I had heard that Florida had great fossils. And I went to University of Florida, Gainesville, where they have a great museum. And I went out to a limestone quarry where they're quarrying limestone to make concrete and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we first stopped at piles of the ground up limestone, and I was looking around. I found a beautiful fossil crab, like a fossil stone crab that was like that big, and lots of chunks of snails and clams, all the kind of things you'll see living around a reef. But then, here's the kicker. That reef was 34 million years ago. Over time, the Earth goes up and down depending on different things, where the continents are. So, like,
you mean the surface goes up and down? The
surface goes up and down. Yeah. And the sea level is also going up and down. So if you live near the coast, either the sea level can go up and flood the land, or the land can go up and drain the sea, or both happen over time quite a bit. So the limestone of the 34 million year old limestone from Florida, which used to be under the sea, is now, above the sea. Yeah. It's maybe 30 or 40 or 100 feet above the sea. Limestone is dissolved by rainwater, right? Because the rainwater's got a little bit of dissolved carbon dioxide in it, which makes it carbonic acid. So raindrops got carbonic acid, it hits the limestone, and it dissolves a little bit. So limestone forms caves.
Yeah,
that's where you find all the big caves, like Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, or Carlsbad Cavern in New Mexico.
Wait a minute. So Mammoth Cave is an old reef?
Yes. In Kentucky.
Dude.
Yes. Now you're getting it. You're with me on this one. So you have this landscape now that the rain is making holes, and these caves can get huge. You've seen Mammoth Cave.
Oh yeah, I've been in a few caves. I haven't been in Mammoth. Yeah.
All of those caves are formed by uplifted ancient limestone.
Now that you mention it, I was in this island in the South Pacific, in the Cook Islands, Mangaya, and it's a coral island.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Full of caves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, but think about marine limestone that's been uplifted. Think about the best analogy, back to food, is Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese.
It's a block of cheese with holes in it, all of it, right? So now what a sinkhole is when you put some weight on the top of a part of the sinkhole. Because when you lift it up, limestone is formed these holes in there. They often fill up with groundwater, so it's like a Swiss cheese that's full of liquid.
And that gives it support as well.
Support. But there's a little. So the top of the sinkhole is there, and you park your car on it, and your car weighs enough to crack the hole, and suddenly the whole thing collapses in on itself, and you have a round lake.
And that's the thing, is they're circular.
Because they're round holes and they become round lakes. So now you have this thing that's there, and it's a lake that's got steep walls on it because you've collapsed in the side. And if you're a turtle or an alligator, you find your way in there, and they fill up with turtles and alligators. You're living happily in there. If you're an animal walking by and you go for a drink in the water, or you fall in, you can't get out because of the steeper walls. So they become a trap. Now, over time, dust and stuff fills it up, and the sinkhole fills up with mud and bodies of all the animals that got buried there. And northern Florida has got, I mean, we went to this one limestone quarry, and you could see where they're cutting the wall, you could see cross sections of infilled sinkholes full of fossil mastodons and rhinoceroses and giant ground sloths and manatees and alligators and turtles. And so I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Right. So it's a big cylinder.
It's a cylinder full of skeletons.
Jeez.
And so, and the museum is chock-a-block full of skeletons, all of them younger than the age of the limestone, 34 million years, all the way up to the Ice Age, 2 million years ago.
Wow.
And we went digging. We went to this other place called Montbrook, and you give you a little knife to dig with. And I dug myself on. First, I found a beautiful fossil turtle with a skull intact, and then
so do you get to keep this stuff? Or?
No, it goes to the museum there.
Oh, okay.
Like whenever I go, I'm always like, some museum I'm working for. Usually my museum, but I'm always like, this cool.
But is there like, how does that work? Is there regulation around that?
Sure.
Like, okay.
If you own the property, you own the fossils.
Got it.
Which means that if you, I mean, which is a good argument to buy property. You own a lot of fossils, right? So, but this is a piece of property that's owned by a private citizen who is letting the University of Florida dig there. And they've been digging for 10 years. They have, from this one little top of a little sinkhole, extracted something like, I don't know, 100 different rhinoceroses. And when I was there, I dug on to a rhinoceros.
Wow.
So I mean, I tell you, I left Florida a changed person because I've been going down to Florida a lot, looking at fossils and things, but I didn't really realize the Swiss cheese thing. And there are thousands of those sinkholes, and they're all full of amazing fossils. And as a result, Florida has one of the best fossil records of early mammals in the country. If you want a fossil mammal between the ages of 34 million and now, Florida and Nebraska are your two top places.